nobody saw this coming. A few decades ago, Hyundai was dismissed in whispers and jokes about reliability, with critics claiming the company would never live up to bigger brand names. But in an unexpected twist, Hyundai fought back hard. Then, out of nowhere, came a performance lineup that nobody took seriously at first. And today, the 2025 Hyundai Elantra N is living proof that everything people used to say about this brand might be wrong. How did a once economy-only automaker, hounded by rumors of recall nightmares, wind up producing a snarling, track-tested sedan that enthusiasts line up to buy? If you think you already know the answer, trust me, the real story of the Elantra N is only just beginning. Hyundai's entry into the US market in the mid-1980s was rougher than most folks remember. Critics quickly labeled these cars cheap, and early reliability issues only amplified the ridicule. So when Hyundai decided to launch a high-performance division, longtime enthusiasts snickered. They clung to the brand's DMN, near-legendary 10-year powertrain warranty, as a sign that Hyundai was trying too hard to lure buyers. After all, how could an automaker once ridiculed for engine problems build anything that screams down a racetrack without falling to pieces? But behind the scenes, Hyundai's leadership was out for blood. Rumors swirled about secret test sessions, clandestine engineering labs, and a dogged determination to outdo established European and Japanese performance models. It almost felt like a redemption story, except nobody had any real proof that Hyundai could pull it off. People were left to guess if the company was writing checks their engines couldn't cash. Then, pieces of the puzzle started to appear. We heard about the N logo, an odd little symbol that Hyundai insisted carried the spirit of the Namyang district back home and the legendary Nürburgring in Germany. Outrageous claims started floating around. Hyundai's engineers would run prototypes on the ring, exposing weaknesses in real time to see how these sporty test mules handled punishing corners and heavy braking zones. Those rumors turned out to be true. To an outsider, the letter N might seem random, but for Hyundai, it was a statement. The Namyang R&D Center became a ground zero for this radical experiment, while the Nürburgring was its trial by fire. Some even whispered that Hyundai's test drivers would run more laps than usual to ensure every single defect was uncovered, and then push the prototypes to the brink of mechanical meltdown. If a piece wasn't perfect, it got replaced. If a system showed signs of weakness, the entire design team went back to the drawing board. The result? By the time the first N models hit showroom floors, the usual naysayers began to realize the brand wasn't playing around. The Veloster N, launched a few years back, shocked drivers with a mix of playful handling and downright rebellious acceleration. But that was just the appetizer. Word leaked that Hyundai had an even bigger project in the pipeline, something that would strike fear into venerable performance nameplates. People on car forums called it a pipe dream. Hyundai insisted it was the future. Suddenly, the 2025 Elantra N stepped onto the stage with a fiery grin, representing everything Hyundai had learned in its quest to be taken seriously. In the background, conspiracies and speculation thrived. Some said the company broke internal budget rules to develop advanced transmissions. Others believed it was all a marketing ploy to target younger buyers. Whatever the real backstory, the Elantra N captured headlines as one of the most unexpected hot sedans on the planet. Things weren't all sunshine. A storm of rumors surrounded the Elantra N's engine well before it even reached dealerships. Skeptics pointed to Hyundai's older turbo engines, claiming they had a track record of recalls. Some fans insisted the new N wouldn't last more than a couple of model years before major internal flaws surfaced. A few owners from the brand's previous sporty lineup, especially early Veloster N adopters, griped online about random engine knocks and rattles. Some said it was user error, others blamed manufacturing shortcuts. The debate went nowhere concrete, but it sure stirred the pot. As if that wasn't enough, a wave of fresh speculation hinted that Hyundai might pivot to an all-electric or hybrid performance model. People questioned whether the Elantra N would face a sudden discontinuation, given shifting environmental policies and stricter emissions targets worldwide. Some took it as a sign that the 2025 model might be the last of its breed. Hyundai, of course, stayed tight-lipped, but leaked internal memos hinted the company was indeed exploring multiple electrified concepts. For a car that was barely getting started, started, the Elantra N had a big question mark dangling over its head. Yet, as the chatter grew louder, the Elantra N's appeal also grew stronger. Potential buyers found themselves more intrigued by the mixture of possible controversy and real-world performance. There's a certain rush in driving a car that people said might never survive, never succeed, or never be taken seriously. It's almost as though the Elantra N thrived on skepticism, turning each rumor into a reason to prove the critics wrong. Raw horsepower numbers have a magnetic power over performance enthusiasts, and the Elantra N delivers more than enough to get pulses racing. Under the hood is a 2.0-liter turbocharged engine pushing out horsepower figures rivaling the segment's older heavyweights, matched to either a 6-speed manual or Hyundai's advanced dual-clutch transmission. That dual clutch, by the way, triggered a new wave of rumors. Some fans claimed early test units had rough shifting at high RPM, while others insisted it was nearly flawless from day one. But the real magic here goes beyond specs. Step inside, and you'll notice seat bolsters that hug your torso, keeping you stable through vicious cornering. The blacked out theme is understated yet menacing, far from the bright red seats that certain competitors love to flaunt. Some people love the stealthy vibe, others find it too subdued. Either way, it sets the Elantra N apart from the get-go. Hit the road or track and you'll feel the rebellious spirit. It's as if the engineer said, let's keep this unfiltered. You might detect a playful torque steer when you bury the throttle, especially if you don't ease into it smoothly. The Elantra N doesn't hide its front-wheel drive nature. Instead, it embraces every quirk. Enthusiasts call that character. Critics call it imperfect. But the folks behind the wheel most often call it fun as hell. What truly blew everyone's minds were the glowing reviews once people started tracking this so-called budget performance sedan. Lap times around certain circuits came dangerously close to established icons. Some track day enthusiasts even reported that their inexpensive Elantra Ns were holding their own against pricier, more famous cars. The brand's track testing at the Nürburgring wasn't just a marketing gimmick after all. Now, you can't talk about the Elantra N without comparing it to the kings of affordable performance. Honda's Civic Type R is practically the stuff of legend, refined through decades of fanatical engineering. Volkswagen's Golf R also stands tall, an icon in its own right. So how could Hyundai, a relative newcomer to high-performance territory, possibly compete against these longtime champions? Turns out, the Elantra N isn't interested in a fair fight. It goes straight for the jugular with a lean-in price tag and feisty on-road behavior that can surprise unsuspecting rivals. Some have labeled it a giant killer, though others say that's going too far. The Honda Civic Type R still has unmatched gearshift smoothness, and the Volkswagen Golf R touts all-wheel drive and plush interior bits. Yet the Elantra N draws buyers who prefer a more raw and rowdy experience. You'll hear them brag about how Hyundai's rebellious newcomer can keep pace in real-world conditions without demanding a bank loan. The biggest controversy, brand loyalty. Die-hard Honda fans claim their lineage and track records can't be matched. Volkswagen loyalists point to refined European heritage, but Hyundai isn't apologizing. Instead, they're banking on the idea that enough drivers want a rebellious, less censored version of performance. The brand's unstoppable focus on proving everyone wrong continues to shake up the hot hatch and hot sedan scene to this day. Of course, no performance model is perfect. Even among die-hard Elantra N owners, you'll hear whispers about questionable reliability in older Hyundai turbo engines, minor transmission quirks in the dual clutch, and occasional rattles that pop up in cold weather. There's also that wheel hop phenomenon some have documented under hard launches, a jolt that unsettles the front wheels if you hammer the accelerator carelessly. But overshadowing all that is Hyundai's warranty, which has become something of a security blanket for worried performance enthusiasts. While most brands offer a standard 3-year or 36,000-mile coverage, Hyundai's significantly longer warranties make people feel safer pushing their cars to the limit. Some cynics claim the brand is simply using warranty coverage as a marketing gimmick. Others argue it's a brilliant strategy that helps the Elantra N thrive despite swirling rumors of reliability pitfalls. Meanwhile, speculation about the next generation of N models keeps swirling. Could Hyundai ramp things up further by adding all-wheel drive? Are they planning a mild hybrid system to boost torque and satisfy emissions regulations? Maybe we'll see a plug-in performance sedan that somehow retains the rowdy attitude. The only certainty is that staying comfortable has never been part of Hyundai's approach. That unpredictability simultaneously excites fans and rattles the competition. Here's where things get especially interesting. Environmental standards worldwide are growing tighter, and major automakers are pivoting to electrification at breakneck speed. Whispers persist that Hyundai might be planning a bold shift from turbocharged mania to full-fledged electric performance. The brand has been dropping hints with electric concepts and has already launched EVs in other segments. Could that mean the Elantra N we know now is living on borrowed time? Some fans fear this might be the last stand for internal combustion within Hyundai's performance stable. Others dismiss those claims as hype, pointing to how the brand keeps doubling down on gasoline-driven performance with each passing year. After all, there was talk about Hyundai shuttering the Veloster N, and that rumor turned out true. So who's to say the Elantra N won't share a similar fate if sales dip? Adding more smoke to the mystery, a few well-placed industry insiders have leaked that Hyundai is evaluating the feasibility of building an all-wheel drive system for the Elantra N. The rumor goes a future iteration might deliver traction that puts it in direct contention with other AWD performance cars. If that comes to pass, it might also come with a hefty price increase. No one knows for sure if Hyundai is willing to risk overshadowing its famed affordability edge, but the sheer possibility is enough to keep adrenaline junkies on the edge of their seats, eagerly awaiting official announcements. So where does that leave us? The 2025 Hyundai Elantra N managed to emerge from a past filled with questionable reputations, swirling rumors, and hushed controversies, only to deliver an experience that many find exhilarating. It's a car that doesn't rest neatly within the confines of what we used to expect from Hyundai. Instead, it stands as a rebellious signpost that sometimes, just sometimes, the underdog can upend an entire class of performance vehicles. In truth, the Elantra N saga feels like it's still unfolding. Hyundai has proven again and again that it's not afraid to adapt, push, and even break its own rules. Maybe we're witnessing the rise of a brand new performance dynasty. One that blends cunning engineering, bold design, and a willingness to rattle the cage of every competitor in sight. Or maybe the 2025 Elantra N is a swan song, a last hurrah for Hyundai's internal combustion dreams before the hammer of electrification forces it into a new chapter. Either way, the story isn't over. Stick around and you just might see Hyundai pull off another shocker. There may be bigger reveals, deeper controversies, or even a complete reinvention lurking around the corner. One thing's certain, if you thought Hyundai was going to settle for middle-of-the-road mediocrity, this car has proved you very wrong. And what happens next? That might be the most surprising turn of events yet.